Hello my friends, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which is going to be my May Eyeshadow Palette Extravaganza. I picked up 6 palettes during the month of May and we're running a little bit behind because I had been reviewing the newer palettes coming out this month, but we're finally here. We're going to talk about the eyeshadow palettes that I picked up during the month of May, tell you how they worked for me, how I am liking them, and that way you know just if you're curious which ones I picked up. And if you're even wondering how they worked because you have your eye on them, then just keep on watching. So let's start off with the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. You have seen this left and right at this point, so I won't talk too much about it. I have already done a review on this palette, but just to give you a quick overview, I love this palette. It is beautiful. It is nothing short of Natasha Denona quality. It's got the same packaging as her regular palettes. It is the $65 price point, which we all know and love. And then on the inside, it's a mix of neutrals, a couple of pops. And I love when she does that because it makes it a little bit more exciting when you've got shades like this. I have to tell you, the Circo Loco palette by Natasha Denona is my favorite from the brand. And so that tells you that I love those types of shades. So when she puts these kinds of pops in here, it just really makes for an amazing palette, at least for me and what I like to use on the eyes. So definitely love the mattes, the metallics. Her formula is one where I like pretty much most of her formulations. Not like Pat McGrath, where I am not a fan of the mattes because they're so dry and papery, but I love the sparkly shades. With Natasha Denona, I love most of her formulas, the cream to powder, the mattes, the shimmers, the metallics. The only shade or the only type of shade or formula that I'm really not as much of a fan of is her topper shade, which is I think like the crystal type of shade. Those can be hit or miss for me, but aside from that, this one really had no duds. I thoroughly have enjoyed playing with the mixes of shades in here, and it makes for a really nice summer palette, but also kind of like transition into fall. This one was a great palette, and at this point is very old news, but have to throw it in here anyways because I did pick it up during the month of May, which is crazy. That's how quickly things move in this industry because that palette feels like it is quite old at this point. So let's move into Viseart. This one I was sucked in truly by the packaging. This is so pretty, so summery. I love the vibe. It's very, very cute. And it's kind of a departure from their packaging. I noticed they're slowly trying to add a little bit more to their packaging. The last one I picked up that I really have enjoyed, it was the orange and it had the little gold hearts. And so this is also very, very cute. I picked it up directly from their site. They were having a sale during the month of May because Sephora never picked this one up. And so I ended up opting to grab it from the website. That already tells you I really wanted this palette because I don't usually go off of a brand's website. I will wait it out till it comes to Sephora. Sometimes they never do. But this was one that I really did want to pick up. So here's what this looks like. And I kind of went on the heels of the last one I picked up because I enjoyed that one, or am enjoying that one so much. It's the one that has the green, I think it's like the Paris Entendu Love Letter palette, and it had that green pop that I have really loved. And so I thought, okay, this has the blue pop and it's got all of these other metallics. I think I would really like it. Now, I like this one very much. I think I like the other one more. The metallics in here are very lovely. They're a very classy type of formula, but they're not super, which I don't think they intend to be, metallic. And so they look lovely, but then as the day wears on, I'm like, I feel like I don't see as much of the intensity, of the sparkle, of the metallic, I guess I should say, that I would like to see, like I do see at the beginning of the day. So I don't know if it's just the way it wears. I don't know if I was just kind of expecting, just because I love the other one so much that my expectations were so high. But quite frankly, the formula is very, very nice. The mattes, Viseart mattes are just in a class of their own, I feel like. I feel like their mattes, it's rare that they go wrong. They're very pigmented, they're easy to blend, and I really do enjoy their formula. So they've got a few metallics that are quite unusual for the brand, kind of shift a little bit. But again, you kind of have to get up close and personal to be able to see it, because the brand isn't known for, like, you know, it pops out at you. But again, I think I was so over the moon with the last one that I kind of thought this one was going to be the same. And it is a lovely palette, I do have to say. If you like these types of shades, I think you would really enjoy it. This yellow is a matte that goes on so nicely. It builds very, very well. And yellows are hard to do. It's hard to find a good yellow that does that, because usually they get dingy, they're washed out. But to find a more vibrant yellow that builds nicely is difficult. And this was really, really nice. So it's a great palette. I think I got it for like $32, and the Viseart formula is awesome. It's just that, again, the metallics were a little bit less than what I expected, but I did pick that one up. Next is the ColourPop and Barbie palette. Of course, I think everybody picked this one up. The packaging is so, so cute. I would have loved to have seen an actual Barbie on the cover, but that's okay. I don't know why, you know, I don't know about licensing and all of that, which I guess if you're collaborating, then you have the licensing to go all out. Who knows? But here's what this looks like. And for me, this was a palette that screamed my name. I love pinks. I love brights. And so the fact that it had this shade already sold me. And then all the pinks, I was like, of course, I'm not even going to think twice about it. And at ColourPop prices, you really can't go wrong. So let me give you a few swatches of this. Again, this one at this point seems like very old news. I remember this launched around the 13th of May because we were at Disney when this released, and I was like, okay, I got to get my hands on it. And I was surprised it didn't sell out as quicker. It's still actually in stock to this day. So you can do a whole lot of summery looks with this, quite frankly. If you like the sunset type of look, you can do that. You got the brights, obviously. And this one is my favorite out of the bunch. It is very, very pigmented. It's easy to build, and it pops like crazy. I remember after I had ordered it, I watched a few people's videos because I knew I wasn't going to do a review on this one. And I was just like, I can't wait for mine to come in, just because it was so vibrant on people's lids. And sometimes the camera makes it seem even more so, but it was so vibrant that I was so excited for this palette. Let me give you one of the neutral metallics. I do find that these work the same as pretty much all of the other ColourPop palettes, shadows, formulas, whatever. The brights, they build so well. They are bright. Now, obviously, this is a lot more concentrated. When you start blending out, it kind of tones it down a little bit, but building it up, you can get this kind of intensity. And again, for the price point, it's really hard to find shades like this. There's one that's almost kind of like a topper that isn't my favorite, but then again, y'all know how I feel about toppers. I kind of like one that can stand on its own, doesn't have to be layered with other shades. But all in all, it is a really great palette. So if you love Barbie, if you love pink, if you love brights, then this one is right up your alley. So next up is the one I'm wearing on my eyes today, which y'all know I'm not a huge cool toned type of girl. I prefer warm tones. I actually prefer brights and neons and all of that, but I can get on board with a nice neutral palette. But cool tones aren't as much of a thing for me. But of course, being that I love eyeshadows and eyeshadow palettes, I usually have to try, you know, certain ones out that really intrigue me. And you guys know how I feel about Violet Voss. So this is the Cool Vibes palette. This is a dedicated cool tone palette. What I will tell you is that if you already own Natasha Denona Glam, you don't need this one. There's a lot of overlap there. And then in addition to that, so the quality in this is great. It's Violet Voss, and it's, for me, Violet Voss rarely goes wrong. So the matte's really, really nice. Again, is what I am wearing today. The metallics are nice, but I feel that they're a little bit toned down, a little bit more dull than a high shine finish, and I would have loved to have seen a high shine finish in these. In addition, I feel like there is more deep shades than there are lighter, and I'm not saying there needs to be lighter shades as a majority. Just kind of a half and half would have been nice, because then it's easier to kind of select what you want for a look, and you don't have something that's going to be all deep, that's going to be all smoky. So I don't know. In addition to that, I feel like I would have liked to have seen more mattes. This one I rarely use. You guys know how I feel about a good cream / white eyeshadow. I hardly use them. So for me, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more in the range of something like this, maybe even a little bit lighter, because this is pretty much as light as it goes. And I would have liked something a little bit lighter just to add depth and dimension, but that's okay. So if you are a Violet Voss fan, if you are a cool toned eyeshadow fan, then this one definitely would speak to you. The quality is there. It works really, really great. Violet Voss, again, rarely disappoints, at least for me, and this was consistent with that. It's just that the metallics were a little bit more dull than I would have liked. You guys know I like a high shine metallic look. I like this middle portion to just pop right out at you. And then a little bit of a few lighter shades. It's just a lot of deep going on there. So for the price point though, I want to say, I'm trying to think how much it was. I will list it down below as usual, but I want to say 29. I don't think that's right. I think it was in the 35 maybe range. I will list it below, but it is a more affordable option, obviously, to the Natasha Denona Glam. You're getting bigger pans of product, which I don't know if anybody needs that big of a pan of eyeshadow, but still, it's definitely attainable for the price point. So next up is this Cara Beauty, what is this called? Make a Statement palette. Now I picked this one up at Marshall's, and the funny thing is I had been wanting to try this brand for a very long time. You guys know me with indie brands, it's hard for me to take the plunge. So I ended up finding this one at Marshall's for $5.99. And I was so amazed that I've been like hunting down to see if I can find any more. There was one I came across that I knew the color story, I just wouldn't put to use, but I'm still on the hunt because these are really great quality. Now, this does come with a highlight and a bronzer. The highlight is slightly deep for me, so it's not really going to get a whole lot of use. However, I can mix it in with a lighter highlight in order to get this metallic shine, because this is beautiful. And then the bronzer does suit me just fine. I'm able to use it with no problems whatsoever. So again, if you're in the market for something like this and you're at your Marshalls and you find one, I say pick it up. So the shades in here are right up my alley for color story, and the metallic shades are absolutely beautiful. They place so nicely on top of a sticky base, which you guys know I use the Fenty Pro Filter eye primer every single time. And I have to show you this olive shade because y'all know I live for a good olive shade. It's coming across a little bit lighter on camera. It's almost looking like a lime olive, but it's absolutely beautiful. There is one pressed glitter in here, which I know may turn some people off, but just really, really beautiful. Here's like a sequin type of shade. Again, $5.99, and I am so excited to have found this bad boy. This is right up my color story alley, and the packaging did have kind of a layout of what colors were included so that I'd be able to see at the store if it was something that was gonna work for me. Came in shrink wrap, so it's not like you could open it up and look. But yeah, $5.99, and I love it. So I'm definitely gonna be hunting down more by the brand. Lastly is the Morphe 35D Desert Bouquet. So if I had to pick a favorite for the month of May out of the palettes that I just showed you, it would be this one. This palette gives the most beautiful looks. There is something about the color story with this that just works. And every single time I have used it, I have gotten a comment or compliment about it, not only in videos, but also out and about. So this particular palette, Morphe can be very hit or miss, I know. This particular one is one of their better ones. It's a palette that I purchased at Ulta. It is now available at Ulta. Used a coupon, but you've got everything that you need to kind of not only add dimension, but kind of play with different shades without being very intimidating, because a lot of people are afraid to use like more color, but they are, I don't know, they're slightly subdued, but so flattering. They give such a beautiful romantic look to the eye, but they're bright enough to where they almost add light to your face. I don't even know. So pretty. The metallics look very nice. And again, their metallics can be very hit or miss, and these are very, very nice. Now, I will tell you that a couple of them are already getting hard pan, but I do find that to be the case with Morphe sometimes. I don't know if it's because they're just so creamy that it just ends up creating that film over top, but they are very luminous, bright, beautiful. I have thoroughly enjoyed using this palette. So let me give you a couple of mattes. Sorry, I had to check the time real quick. Let me give you a couple of these mattes. So again, when I say that this is one of the better performing Morphe palettes, this is truly one of the better performing Morphe palettes. Sometimes you get a palette that's like, you go in with the mattes and you're like, where's the color? And you have to build up 5 or 6 times, and by that time you're over it. Not this palette. This is a good one. So I will also tell you though, I did have to exchange mine because the first one I bought, and this one's better, but the first one I bought, the lid was kind of rounded like this. It wasn't shutting all the way, and I thought it's gonna dry out some of the shades. So I went and swapped it out for another. This one is slightly rounded, but it's definitely better. Like, can you see that it's not closing all the way? So anyways, something faulty with the packaging, but I want to say this one was $25 minus the coupon. Such a good palette, and look at the packaging. So pretty. I love when they do something different like that because it makes it a little more unique. Definitely a standout palette, and let me give you this shade. This is my favorite one out of the entire palette. It's so pretty. That's the type of shade that I love. The type of metallic that's like a highlighter, but on your eyes. So favorite, the one I highly recommend. And you know, some of y'all may not be even like any kind of Morphe fans, and so I totally get that. But for the price point, again, it's definitely a win. And for the quality, you can't go wrong. Alrighty, my friends, well, that brings us to the end of another video and another monthly eyeshadow palette extravaganza. We're almost into the month of July, so the June video for this topic will be coming your way, I'm sure, very, very soon, and there was some exciting stuff during the month of June. I just have to tell you that. So before I let you go, I just want to give you a very quick verse of the day to motivate you, encourage you, and to tell you that Jesus loves you. Today's comes from Isaiah 30:18, and it says, "The Lord longs to be gracious to you. He rises to show you compassion. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him." That is so powerful, so wonderful, and I hope it encourages you and motivates you. I hope it lifts your spirit and allows you to just realize how much Jesus loves you and cares for you. Alrighty, my friends, well, thank you so much for stopping by, for spending some time with me today talking about eyeshadow. I will see you in the very next video. I hope each of you has a beautiful rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Bye.